title, Rise and Grind, Success Starts With You. Listen to me. You can't keep waiting for the perfect moment. There is no magic formula, no shortcut, no easy path to success. The truth is, it starts with YOU. Every single morning you wake up, you've got two choices: stay in bed and dream, or get up and chase it like your life depends on it. You say you want success, then you better rise and grind for it, because the world doesn't owe you anything. Nobody's coming to hand you your goals, your dream job, your perfect life. You've got to build it with your own two hands. Every champion, every millionaire, every game changer, they all started where you are right now, tired, broke, uncertain. But they made a decision. They said, I'm done waiting. I'm done making excuses. I'm going to show up every single day, no matter how I feel. Discipline beats motivation. Show up even when you don't feel like it. Most people rely on motivation, that emotional high, that burst of energy when they hear a speech or watch a video. But motivation fades. It's temporary. It comes and goes like the weather. One day you wake up fired up, ready to take on the world, and the next day you don't even feel like getting out of bed. That's where discipline separates the winners from the quitters. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline doesn't need a reason. Discipline says, I made a commitment and I'm going to keep it no matter what. When you operate from discipline, you don't ask yourself, do I feel like doing it? You just do it because that's who you are. That's what champions do. Every successful person you admire didn't get there because they were motivated every day. They got there because they built habits that carried them through the days they didn't feel like grinding. When the alarm goes off at 4 a.m., motivation won't pull you out of bed. Discipline will. When your friends are out partying and you know you've got goals to chase, motivation won't stop you from giving in. Discipline will. Discipline is your backbone. It's the voice in your head that says, keep going. When your body says, I'm done. It's the difference between dreaming about success and actually achieving it. People love to talk about goals. They love to write them down, make vision boards, tell the world what they're going to do. But what they don't talk about is the discipline it takes to get there. You want to lose weight. That's not motivation. That's discipline. It's waking up early, eating right, and showing up to the gym when nobody's watching. You want to build a business. That's not motivation. That's discipline. It's staying up late, learning your craft, failing over and over, but refusing to quit. You want to change your life. That's not motivation. That's discipline. It's choosing growth over comfort every single day. Discipline is what makes ordinary people do extraordinary things. It's not about how talented you are or how smart you are. It's about how consistent you can be when the excitement is gone. Talent can take you to a certain level, but discipline will take you all the way. Think about athletes, soldiers, entrepreneurs, or students who rise to the top. They're not superhuman. They've just mastered the art of showing up every single day, even when it hurts, even when it's boring, even when nobody is clapping for them. That's what discipline looks like: silent, steady, relentless progress. When you build discipline, you build character. You learn to trust yourself because you know you'll follow through. You stop depending on external motivation because you've developed internal power. And that's what separates people who talk about change from those who actually make it happen. Discipline is freedom. It gives you control over your mind, your emotions, your time, and your future. The undisciplined live by impulse. The disciplined live by purpose. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you take one step closer to your goals. Every time you say no to procrastination, to excuses, to distractions, you strengthen that muscle inside you. The muscle of self-control, focus, and resilience. There will be days when you don't feel like it, days when the weight feels too heavy, the road too long, the progress too slow. That's when discipline becomes your best friend. Motivation is loud and flashy. Discipline is quiet and firm. Motivation shouts, "You can do it." But discipline whispers, "Do it anyway." And that whisper is what gets you through the storm. Discipline is built in the dark when no one's watching, when there's no applause, when you have every reason to stop but choose not to. It's built through repetition, through small daily actions that seem insignificant but add up to greatness over time. If you want to change your life, you've got to stop chasing motivation and start cultivating discipline. Motivation might start the fire, but discipline keeps it burning. Motivation can help you take the first step, but discipline keeps you walking when the path gets tough. The truth is, the people who succeed aren't always the most inspired. They don't the most disciplined. They don't wait to feel ready. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They act, they move, they execute, no matter how they feel. Every time you choose discipline, you're rewriting your story. You're proving to yourself that you're in control, that you're capable, that you can rely on your own word. Most people never experience that kind of power because they quit when it gets hard. They think success is about feeling good all the time, but success is about doing what's necessary even when you'd rather not. Discipline is doing what's right over what's easy. It's saying yes to the grind, yes to the sacrifice, yes to the pain that comes before the reward. When you build that kind of mental toughness, there's nothing that can stop you. Discipline doesn't just shape your habits, it shapes your identity. It changes how you see yourself. You start believing that you are capable of more. You start to walk differently, talk differently, think differently. Because you know you're the kind of person who doesn't give up. You're the kind of person who keeps showing up no matter how many times life knocks you down. That kind of confidence can't be bought or faked. It's earned through discipline, through those moments when you wanted to quit but didn't. You have to understand that feelings are temporary, but discipline is permanent. Feelings come and go, but discipline stays with you. It's the foundation of every success story. It's what allows you to stay committed long after the excitement fades. Discipline teaches you patience, focus, and endurance. It gives you the strength to push through rejection, setbacks, and failure. Because with discipline, you don't view failure as the end. You view it as part of the process. When you develop discipline, you stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop waiting for the right time. You stop caring about what other people think. You become laser focused on your purpose. And the moment you stop relying on motivation and start operating from discipline, everything changes. You start producing results. You start building momentum. You start becoming unstoppable because now you're driven by something deeper. Commitment. You're no longer chasing the feeling. You're chasing the outcome. And when you live like that, when you show up day after day, hour after hour, even when it hurts, even when it's lonely, even when nobody notices, that's when real transformation begins. Your mindset determines your grind. Think like a winner. Act like one. Everything starts in your mind before it ever shows up in your life. The way you think shapes the way you move, the way you talk, the way you react, and ultimately the way you live. If you walk around thinking small, you're going to live small. If you see yourself as a loser, you'll start acting like one without even realizing it. But when you start thinking like a winner, when you begin to believe that you were built for greatness, everything around you begins to shift. Your energy changes. Your focus sharpens. You stop waiting for opportunities and you start creating them. The battle for success is fought long before you ever step on the field. It's fought in your mind. Most people lose the fight before it even begins because they've already convinced themselves that they can't win. They say they want success, but deep down they don't believe they deserve it. They talk about change, but their thoughts are chained to fear, doubt, and limitation. Winners, on the other hand, train their minds to see possibility in every problem. When things go wrong, they don't say, "Why me?" They say, "Try me," because they understand that the mind is a weapon, and how you use it determines how far you go. The strongest muscle in your body is your mindset. If you feed it weakness, it will produce excuses. If you feed it strength, it will produce results. The difference between average and exceptional isn't talent. It's mindset. Everyone wants success, but not everyone is mentally built for it. Winners wake up every morning with purpose. They visualize their goals. They feel their vision. They see themselves winning long before the world sees it. They refuse to entertain negative thoughts. They understand that whatever consumes their mind will eventually control their actions. If you think like a victim, you'll stay one. If you think like a leader, you'll start leading your life. That's the power of mindset. It sets the tone for your grind. Your grind is a reflection of your thoughts. When you think you can't do something, your effort matches that belief. You move slower, you hesitate, you hold back. But when you believe that you can, when you truly convince yourself that it's possible, your entire approach changes. You attack the day with energy. You work harder, smarter, longer. You stop worrying about the outcome and start falling in love with the process. Winners know that their thoughts create momentum. Every time you tell yourself you can, you build mental muscle. Every time you say you can't, you weaken it. That's why the greatest athletes, entrepreneurs, and achievers spend so much time mastering their mindset. They understand that to change their results, they first have to change their thinking. You can't grind with a losing mentality. You can't expect to achieve greatness when you keep telling yourself you're not good enough. You can't plant seeds of doubt and expect to harvest confidence. Your thoughts are like soil. Whatever you plant there grows. If you plant negativity, fear, and limitation, you'll get hesitation, excuses, and regret. But if you plant faith, belief, and determination, you'll grow persistence, courage, and resilience. Your mindset either fuels your grind or kills it. That's why some people can keep pushing even when they're tired, while others quit at the first sign of struggle. It's not about physical strength. It's about mental toughness. You have to reprogram your mind for success. You've got to catch yourself when negative thoughts creep in. You've got to stop saying, "I can't," and start saying, "I will." You've got to replace fear with faith. Winners don't wait for confidence. They build it through action. They know that every time they show up, they're proving something to themselves. They understand that success isn't just about grinding harder. It's about grinding smarter. And that starts with the right mindset. When your thoughts are aligned with your goals, your actions naturally follow. When your mind says, "We're not stopping until we win," your body listens. Your mindset is the engine that drives your grind. If that engine is weak, it doesn't matter how big your dreams are. You won't get far. But if that engine is powerful, there's no limit to how far you can go. Winners feed their minds with positivity, knowledge, and vision. They protect their energy. They avoid negative people, toxic environments, and distractions that drain their focus. They speak life over their goals. They affirm their purpose daily. They don't allow circumstances to control them. They control how they respond to circumstances. That's what separates those who rise from those who remain stuck. It's not that winners never have bad days. They just don't let bad days control their attitude. They face failure but don't identify with it. They take losses, but they learn from them instead of being broken by them. They keep their mindset locked on growth. When they fall, they don't think it's over. They think, what can I learn? That's the kind of mindset that keeps your grind alive when motivation fades. It's what keeps you showing up even when the results aren't showing yet. Because in the mind of a winner, progress is progress no matter how small. Your thoughts set your standard. If you think average, you'll perform average. If you think excellence, you'll pursue excellence. Mindset is the foundation of discipline, persistence, and consistency. You can't outwork a bad mindset, no matter how many hours you put in. If your mind isn't aligned with success, you'll keep sabotaging yourself. Winners understand this. They train their thoughts daily like they train their bodies. They practice gratitude, visualization, and self-talk. They remind themselves who they are and what they're capable of, because they know that before you win externally, you've got to win internally. You've got to start seeing yourself as someone who deserves success. You've got to walk with confidence before the world gives you a reason to. That's what winners do. They believe first, and the evidence follows. They don't wait for validation. They validate themselves through hard work and belief. Your grind has to be rooted in conviction. You can't grind for something you don't believe in. The stronger your belief, the stronger your effort. The mind gives birth to the motion, and the motion creates the results. So many people have talent, potential, and opportunities, but they never rise because their mindset keeps them stuck. They keep telling themselves, I'll never make it. And their actions follow that thought. But the moment you flip that script, the moment you start saying, I'm built for this, I can handle this, I'm not stopping until I win, everything changes. Your brain starts finding solutions instead of excuses. Your focus sharpens. Your energy multiplies. That's when you start to grind like a winner. Not because you have to, but because that's who you are. Thinking like a winner doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means shaping it. It means believing that you have control over your effort, your response, and your growth. It means refusing to settle for less than your potential. When you think like a winner, you stop competing with others and start competing with your old self. You stop chasing perfection and start chasing progress. You realize that the only limits that exist are the ones in your mind. The truth is, your grind will only be as strong as your mindset. If your thoughts are weak, your work will be inconsistent. But when your thoughts are strong, your grind becomes unstoppable. Winners don't just think positive. They think powerful. They see opportunity where others see problems. They stay calm under pressure. They don't run from the struggle. They use it as fuel. That's what it means to think like a winner and act like one. Consistency creates success. Small efforts every day build empires. The truth about success is that it's rarely about big, dramatic moments. It's about what you do daily, not occasionally. The difference between the people who dream and the people who achieve lies in one simple word: consistency. Every small action, every repeated habit, every ordinary day of effort builds the foundation for something extraordinary. You can have the biggest goals in the world, the best plans, and all the talent, but if you're not consistent, none of it matters, because consistency turns motion into momentum, and momentum turns effort into achievement. People underestimate the power of small daily actions because they want instant results. They want success to happen overnight, but nothing great ever happens overnight. Success is the result of showing up again and again, even when the excitement fades, even when progress feels invisible. Consistency is what keeps you grinding when the motivation is gone. It's what pushes you forward when you feel stuck, when the results are slow, when no one is watching. The greatest athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders built their success brick by brick, day after day, with relentless commitment to their craft. Every time you repeat a positive action, you're programming your mind and body for success. You're building habits that make success automatic. It's not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about doing the right thing, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when it doesn't seem to matter. Because every drop of effort adds up. One day, all those small efforts connect, and suddenly people call you lucky. But what they don't see is the years of consistency behind that moment. They don't see the early mornings, the late nights, the discipline it took to keep going when quitting seemed easier. Consistency is what transforms potential into performance. You can have natural talent, but without consistency, it fades. You can have passion, but without consistency, it burns out. Consistency is what gives direction to your energy. It's the bridge between goals and results, between talk and action. Anyone can start, but not everyone can keep going. Starting is easy. Staying consistent is what separates winners from wishers. You have to train yourself to show up no matter what, because the more consistent you are, the more confidence you build. You start trusting yourself. You start realizing that you're capable of sticking to something long enough to see it through. When you practice consistency, you're not just building skills, you're building character. You're developing patience, resilience, and mental toughness. You're teaching yourself that discipline matters more than emotion. You stop chasing motivation because consistency becomes your default mode. You stop needing to feel ready because you've trained yourself to take action regardless of how you feel. That's what creates unstoppable momentum. It's not about massive leaps. It's about steady steps. Every small step forward compounds over time until you look back and realize how far you've come. People often quit because they don't see results fast enough. They think what they're doing isn't working, so they stop, not realizing that success was just a few steps ahead. Consistency demands patience because results don't show up immediately. They accumulate quietly, and then suddenly they explode. The gym sessions that felt pointless, the study hours that seemed endless, the late nights when no one noticed, they all add up. That's the invisible work that creates visible success. The ones who make it aren't always the smartest or the strongest. They're the ones who refuse to stop showing up. Consistency also builds credibility. When you show up every day, people begin to trust you, not because of what you say, but because of what you do. They see your commitment, your reliability, your drive. Consistency builds reputation. It tells the world that you're serious, that you're dependable, that you're not just talking about success, you're living it. And even more importantly, it builds self-respect, because when you consistently follow through on your promises to yourself, you prove that you can count on you. Every day is an opportunity to get a little better, to move a little closer to your goal. It doesn't matter how small the progress is. Progress is progress. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. Miss a day and it's okay. Just don't miss twice. Because when you stop completely, you break your rhythm. The goal isn't to be flawless. The goal is to keep moving, keep showing up, keep giving effort, keep stacking wins. That's how greatness is built. Not in a single moment of brilliance, but through years of consistent effort. Look at nature. A river doesn't cut through rock because of its power, but because of its persistence. Drop by drop, moment by moment, consistency carves the impossible into reality. The same principle applies to your life. Every workout, every hour of study, every business call, every practice session is another drop shaping your future. It's not glamorous and it's not always exciting, but it's powerful, because the truth is consistency compounds. What seems small today becomes significant tomorrow. One day of effort might not change your life, but 100 days will, 1 year will, 10 years will. Success isn't about intensity, it's about longevity. Anybody can work hard for a day. Anybody can grind for a week. But can you do it when you're tired? Can you do it when nobody's watching? Can you do it when there's no applause, no instant reward, no recognition? That's where consistency proves your character, because consistency means commitment. It means doing it because it's part of who you are, not because it's convenient. It's about choosing progress over perfection, process over comfort. You don't need to do everything at once. You just need to do something every day that moves you closer to where you want to be. Consistency is the quiet force behind every success story. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand attention, but it delivers results. It's not about doing everything right. It's about not giving up when things go wrong. The more consistent you are, the more you build habits that make success effortless. Eventually, what once felt hard becomes normal. What once required discipline becomes automatic. And that's the magic of consistency. It rewires your mind, reshapes your habits, and redefines your limits. No one becomes great by accident. Every master started as a beginner who decided to stay consistent. They didn't rely on inspiration. They relied on repetition. They practiced when it wasn't fun. They worked when others rested. They kept showing up, refining, learning, improving. That's what builds mastery. That's what creates excellence. Because when you commit to consistent effort, growth becomes inevitable. It may not happen overnight, but it will happen. Consistency turns ordinary days into extraordinary results. It transforms dreams into reality, effort into expertise, and time into transformation. Every day you show up, you're stacking bricks. You might not see the wall yet, but it's being built. Every repetition counts. Every small win matters. Every consistent action is an investment in your future. Because the truth is, the people who succeed aren't the ones who do it perfectly. They're the ones who do it persistently.